Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a game where the impossible happens about every 30 minutes or so. That one of the craziest things about this game is that anything can happen at any time, and it's also a reason why I love this game so much. Not only is it a breathtakingly gorgeous adventure, but you can also just get yourself in some of the craziest situations, and one of the best aspects of this game is finding more and more creative ways to end up at the game over screen. So in celebration of the recent winter DLC, I want to do a video on some of the most incredible things I have seen in Breath of the Wild, usually through like Twitter videos or someone posting something that they got themselves into, but I think that it's pretty cool just kind of sharing the experiences of the community, and that's what this video is all about. Now maybe this list is going to start off with a little bit of bias, but I want to put a clip that happened to me during my Let's Play of Breath of the Wild, that I'm going to call this one the Magic Bullet. Because I was just having a fun little adventure collecting Korok seeds, and out of nowhere... What are you doing it? Ow! Woo! That just kind of found me, didn't it? I think that's just kind of one of the things that just shows you that you are never safe in this game at any time. That enemy wasn't even on screen. I didn't even know that there was anything there, yet it found me and landed the perfect shot. So, just one of those entertaining ways that this game will kill you. Now this video isn't only going to be about crazy deaths. That Breath of the Wild is a game filled with so much freedom that almost anything can happen, so we're going to cover some insane accomplishments as well as brilliant creativity, and also things like this that are kind of buggy and glitchy. So we have the new bike in the DLC, and it seems like some of the interactions aren't quite worked out because there's some new things that the game was not ready to handle. What? I don't even know how you describe something like that happening. First off, the combat on the motorcycle is pretty awesome, but then the bokoblin just like gets under it, throws the bike in the air, and then I will give an arbitrary amount of bonus points just for the quick reactions, the incredible landing, and then just kind of being able to respawn and understand everything that just happened, because that was pretty nuts. Now, you might have even seen number 8 on Twitter with over 11,000 retweets, and I think the most interesting part about this one is that anyone that's played Breath of the Wild for over an hour knows exactly what is going to happen, exactly how the game is going to handle this situation, yet it does not take away from the experience at all. I still found this one absolutely hilarious. It's just the pure comedy and almost cartoony way that the game decides to finish off Link. Too good. For number 7 on the list, we're going to talk about Cuckoos and the way that they are programmed, because I think one of the coolest discoveries in Breath of the Wild was learning that Cuckoos will swarm enemies, and there's just nothing that they can do about it. So it takes a little bit of finagling with, you know, you actually have to get it to where the enemy is attacking you and then hits the bird, but it has to hit 3 times to go and trigger the ultimate destruction. But once it happens, there is nothing that can be done about it. It is a swarm of hate and death, and they will keep going until it is dead. Like, that is what got me as well. Like, they will just relentlessly beat it down. The enemy gets knocked, and then it just poofs away just like that, dead. And another cool thing is that people have actually gone all the way to Ganon's castle with a Cuckoo just to see if you can fight Ganon with it. So, I mean, there's just a lot of expanse upon this, and then just like taking it to different enemies and see what happens. And overall, this is just awesome. Another thing that is awesome is that Guardians will retaliate against other enemies as well. So some of just the programming that was going on with Breath of the Wild shows how deep and expansive this game gets. But once again, you have to find a place where you can find a stone talus, lead it over to a Guardian, get the talus to attack the Guardian, and then the Guardian will actually shoot lasers at the talus, and there's a chance, you know, if it does hit the rock on his back, the Guardian will deal damage to the talus. Now, this also happens with a couple of other enemies as well, so it just kind of shows that a Guardian it can get upset and it's going to throw a laser your way. But I think the biggest disappointment, unfortunately, that this AI isn't really programmed to do much else. You know, there's no one-on-one fighting. That was able to get the Guardian to hit the Talus and deal damage, but the Talus didn't turn around and hit the Guardian. It was still aggroed onto me. So you have to play a weird game of tag to get them to fight it out. But again, it's just kind of crazy that you can set up the game to have this interaction and it ends up working out. Number 5 on the list is about some of the awesome trick shots that I've seen in Breath of the Wild. Now, I'm pretty sure that everyone that's put a couple of hours in the game has already had an amazing stasis play, but this actually made me clap in real life even though I was just alone sitting at my computer because, dang, that was pretty cool. And then this next video, it legitimately surprised me. I was not impressed when I first saw it. I was like, okay, so what? The guy's just going to like shoot an arrow, hit a Guardian from far away? I mean, I'm pretty sure I've made some pretty nice snipes in my day with the Breath of the Wild, but then I watched the video and man, that arrow flies for a long time. Now, when it comes to number 4 on the list, I don't think my commentary can actually contribute anything to the experience, so I'm just gonna let you guys watch life while in the infinite. Okay, and for number 3 on the list, I just threw my hands up in the air and said, screw it. Anything is possible in this game because you can even make a flying machine out of the materials around you. You know, if you try to experiment with it, it might seem impossible at first, but you can piece together a contraption that flies you to the skybox in Breath of the Wild. Now, I first saw this one coming from Joe Merrick. He is the webmaster of Cerebi, which is actually a Pokemon information site, but he loved the game as well, and then I saw the tweet, whoa, this crazy thing works, I can fly, and he got kicked off, and then he started flying from there. That was just crazy, and you can actually build one for yourself as well. So what you want to do is go onto the Death Mountain, find yourself a metal crate as well as a rail. I had a video guide on how to do it for yourself, and then it's just about positioning. You have to get the box in the right spot. You have to be standing in the perfect spot. You have to pull up with the perfect amount of magnesis to make it to where the box doesn't go all over the place because it is very difficult to control. Now, I've seen some people that can actually master this. You know, they have really good control, they have really good precision, and they can pinpoint it really well. So it is possible, although difficult. And then in the end of the day, you have a machine that just goes off and does crazy things while flying through the land in Breath of the Wild. That is pretty awesome. And now I'm very excited for this part because number 2 on the list is one of the reasons why I made this video, because all of a sudden, there was Yiga Clan shenanigans being posted all over Twitter. It became a trend to find the most cheesy ways of destroying the Yiga Clan in disguise, and I'm just going to play a montage of beautiful, wonderful videos that you guys can enjoy for yourself and just kind of make you realize the creativity, the destruction, and everything you can do in Breath of the Wild.
Wow. Huh? Hmm? Huh?
And now it's time for number 1 on the list of the most incredible things in The Legend of Zelda, The Breath of the Wild. And I'm going to have to say the any percent speedrun, because if you are watching this as someone who has just kind of gone in blind to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, just played the game for fun, figured out that yeah, there's some cool things you can do, and maybe you can get good at the game, your jaw will slam to the floor at the technique, at the skill, at some of the things that these players do to beat the game in 40 minutes. That at the time of recording this video, the world record sits at 40 minutes and 48 seconds. That is one of the things, like this speedrun shows that the impossible truly can become possible. First, for starters, we look at the plateau snow run. Ridiculous board surfing, scaling the mountain without any warming food, and then clutching it on the last tick of damage.
Fall down a little bit. And if you whistle sprint into that, it'll overcharge your stamina on the way up, so you can climb longer.
And as you notice, I've done a bunch of shield surfs, and my shield that can only take 7 hits has taken much more than 7, because again, in snowy and sandy areas, your shield...
And then there's just the speedrunning tech that is found throughout the entirety of the run that's just mind-blowing when you watch it in action.
Alright, so as mentioned, we're about to use the stasis rune to great effect. We're gonna come over here, hit this rock, switch the bomb room, hit it a bunch, just like a bunch. Ooh, I need to hit that one more time. We're gonna drop a bomb there in first person mode, grab the rock, and now we're going flying.
Nice.
Well, we are not done yet. Okay. So we're gonna stand in this precise spot, crouch, open up the Chica Slate. Oh, I need it. No, do this. Do this here. Then we're gonna do this. Okay. That should be good. And we're gonna ride this to the top of the Temple of Time. Awesome.
Nice. Nicely done.
Absolutely beautiful. But then it all culminates to one of the most impressive feats of gaming. That what you can do is you can play through the entire game, or you don't even have to beat every single boss and clear every single dungeon, or beat all the shrines and get an insane amount of hit points, you know? As long as you get a reasonable amount of gear, understand how the game works, you can challenge Ganon and maybe even be overgeared and feel confident enough to battle him. But no, not only is Ganon defeated in just a few minutes, but the runner accomplishes this through items that are only collected along the way or in Ganon's castle, that you could gear up for hours or days grinding to make sure you have enough food, to make sure you have enough weapons and armor to have the strongest chance of defeating Ganon. But during the speedrun, it's just a couple of swords and arrows that are pilfered throughout the castle and then used expertly on low hit points, low food, just to defeat Ganon, which is a pretty intense boss rush if you have not cleared the dungeons. This is what Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is about. This is overcoming boundaries, and this just leads to one of the most insane things I have ever seen in gaming.